A few decades ago, I was down at this ginormous record store in Hollywood, California called Amoeba Music. And I used to spend hours down there in the listening rooms and thumbing through records. And one day I stumbled upon this record called Eric Clapton's Unplugged. And it was a DVD of a live performance and a CD, both together. And so I bought this, and I remember driving home and listening to it all the way back home on the 101 freeway. And I learned so much from this album. In fact, I actually learned every song on the album, and it showed me a lot about blues playing, rhythm and lead, how to accompany a singer, which I ended up using for a lot of years, playing behind vocalists as a gigging musician. And so I really think that it's a great study for guitar players. And so in this video, I want to share with you 3 killer licks from the Unplugged album. And I know I'm not playing an acoustic guitar. I'm not going unplugged. I'm using my telly. But the beautiful thing about these phrases is that they work on acoustic or electric. So the first one I want to share with you is called the Layla lick, and it sounds like this. It's in the key of D minor, and I've got a D minor chord here I'll just cue up. Here's the lick. So Clapton is playing a bluesy phrase over the D minor, and he's starting out with these 2 notes. You've got an F and an A, and he just bends that F a little out of tune. It's a classic blues lick. Then you go to the 7th fret on the 3rd string, and then you go back. So it goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, then after beat 3 there, we walk down. And this is just descending down. The D minor blues scale. So I'm playing the notes D, C, A flat, G, and then sliding down to F. So, and then G, F, D, D. So, okay, then when you get down to that note, you go back up. So it descends down, and then back up to that note F, which is the flat 3rd, and then you get off it. So it's like, now that pattern there is something you really want to be familiar with. As I mentioned, it's the D minor blues scale. And if you don't know your blues scale yet, I want to give you a gift that's going to really help you out with this. And what it is my free blues scale PDF guide. And you can get this by going to jonmaclennan.com/bluescales. I'm going to show you the 5 easiest and fastest ways to get playing this scale anywhere on the neck. Now, one thing that Clapton does here is the typical pattern that a lot of people will play is like that, but he moves down. Little slide there. So that's a secret hack to be able to kind of navigate around the fretboard is you start sliding between these different shapes. So that's the first lick. Here it is again. I'll just play the D minor and you can hear what it sounds like. It's starting on the, let's see, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So it's the and a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and then it ends on the and a 3. Here's what it sounds like. Nice tasty lick here. Now we're gonna go up higher on the neck and play a double stop riff. This comes in way up here in the 13th position. Same key, D minor. Here's what it sounds like. 3, 4. So we've got this triplet rhythm, 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a very common rhythm you hear in the blues all the time. Now I'm sliding in here to the notes A on the G string and then C on the B string, and that would be the 5th of the chord and then the flat 7. Again, it's just a double stop move. We're gonna play those triplets and slide in on every beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a whole measure, and then we'll continue with 2 more beats, 1 and 2 and then on beat 3 we break off to single lines or single note lines and go. Okay, so that's just straight into the A there, then C, D, then slide down to G on the 3rd string, play it twice, and then F, D. So again, a beautiful thing about this is just that in itself. Like, you can have a cool lick, or you could take the first part, and you could go somewhere else. You know, there's a million ways that you can start taking these phrases once you start getting them under your fingers. So learn them first as is, and then go from there. So here's what it sounds like with the rhythm one more time. Lick number 3 comes from the song Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out, which is an old blues standard. I believe it's originally accredited to Jimmy Cox, but we'll have to do some Google searching on that. That's just off the top of my head. But the progression goes C, E7, A7. So he's starting to play over some more sophisticated blues changes instead of just a straight up 1-4-5. But this is an example of using the C major blues scale. Here's what it sounds like. So he starts out with the C major blues scale there. So notes C, D, slide to E, then G, A, C, then again D slide to A, D slide to E, and then G to A. So it's really the same thing twice, just repeating itself up the octave. Then once you get to that A note, do a little rest, then hit it again. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and triplet rhythm there primarily, but starting on the and 1. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we go. Love that there. So that's a hammer from G to A, back to G, then 9 on the 3rd string, that's E, then D, C, A. And I did a little pull off there. So then after that A, you hammer C to C sharp, and then hit the A on the 4th string. So again, a great triplet rhythm, 1 and 2 and then it ends with 3 and, which are 8th notes at the end. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's on the chord A7, because in this song, which you can check out, I have another lesson on my channel teaching this full song, but C, E7 is, and then A7 is what that lick is going over. Here's what it sounds like all together. So there you have it, 3 killer blues licks from Eric Clapton's Unplugged album. If you want to learn to improvise like this anywhere on the neck, then grab my free blues scale PDF guide. As you can see in all of these examples, Clapton is using the blues scale. So you want to make sure you know it. Just go to jonmaclennan.com/bluescales to grab this guide. I'm going to show you the 5 easiest and fastest ways to get playing it anywhere on the neck. Hope you enjoy that as my gift to you. As always, thanks for watching, and if you liked this video, I think you'll really like this one next.